It is ridiculous that Paul George is on the Sixers. All he wanted was a 4-year max from the Clippers. Loved being there, but why didn't they do it? Because it put them in the second apron. The new CBA has rules for expensive teams. If you spend too much, you lock in your roster. No changes. So LA said, well, we're not a championship roster. We can't afford no changes. So they had no choice. Please just take a pay cut. I mean, Kawhi did it, but Paul George said, nope, I'm getting the max. So his number one target became the Warriors. Reports said PG wanted to stay on the West Coast and to play with Steph Curry. So Golden State offered Paul the 4-year max that he wanted. All they had to do was get a trade done. PG would opt into his 1 year and they'd make a deal. So The Athletic says Golden State offered several different trades that Steph and Draymond personally approved. Those included trading Chris Paul, Jonathan Kuminga, Andrew Wiggins, Moses Moody, and a first-round pick. Not all of that at once, obviously, different versions of it, including those pieces, but that's how hard the Dubs wanted to get this done. But in the end, the Clippers said no. There was nothing that Golden State could offer better than Paul George. I mean, think about it. If it's not worth going to the second apron for Paul George, why would they do that for Andrew Wiggins and Jonathan Kuminga? So sadly, the Warriors hung up the phone, cut CP3 because they don't need his contract in a Paul George trade anymore, and are looking for smaller deals. So now it was down to the Orlando Magic or the Sixers. Orlando then spent big money on Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, so the only team left was Philly. Now, I'm not saying that he's not happy to be a Sixer, but this wouldn't have happened in any other year. The Clippers would have just paid the luxury tax to keep him, or the Warriors trade pieces would have made sense. Why? Because there's no second apron. But the NBA changed the rules to break up the Warriors and the Clippers, and it worked. Steve Ballmer is the richest owner in sports. The Dubs' Joe Lacob always spends big, but now they lose Paul George and Klay Thompson because it's not just about money anymore. The new CBA hurts them on the court, but it's still a big win for Daryl Morey. He is the best GM / front office guy, whatever, without a championship. All the times he somehow got stars to go to Houston to play with James Harden. Philly could have blown up so many times. I mean, the Ben Simmons holdout, he turned it into James Harden. James Harden gets upset. He turned that into a great package from the Clippers. And he convinced Tyrese Maxey to defer his extension so they could have cap space to land Paul George. Dude has planned this summer for over a year, and it paid off. Yes, he's lucky that this new CBA forced the Clippers to move on, but it's still impressive. Now, Philly has the 2023 MVP, a 9-time two-way All-Star, and a 23-year-old most improved player. All three can shoot and handle the ball. Maxey can carry games in the regular season so the old guys can rest. Yo, the Celtics are still the defending champs and the Knicks upgraded big time, but Philly is the best big three in the league, if healthy. Which is what we said about the Clippers, a dynasty, if healthy. But they never were. And yeah, we know how much they gave up to get Paul George. 1 million draft picks, one that's already become Jalen Williams, and third place MVP this year, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Basically, the Paul George deal laid the foundation for this young contending Thunder. And what were the results? Well, the 1 year Kawhi and PG were healthy, they blew a 3-1 lead to Denver in the bubble. That sucks, because they were never healthy again. And it wasn't all Kawhi either. PG was injured a ton, but even this year, both healthy all season. Then at the very end, Kawhi hurts his knee and they lose to the Mavs in 6. It must have been such a letdown when everything looked good. So I get it. Paul was like, you want me to take a pay cut? And this never works. I mean, year after year, I work, get my hopes up, and Kawhi gets injured? And for the record, I mean, Kawhi is living it up in Costa Rica. And for some reason, he posts vacation pictures like in the ghetto looking like a mechanic. Kawhi's like, yeah, post these pics, they're good. But the problem is PG is switching from the most injured star to the second most injured star. Something is always wrong with Joel Embiid. I mean, last year somehow he got Bell's palsy and was playing with half a paralyzed face. Hey, at least he's more fun than Kawhi. Remember when during a finals game, Embiid heard PG was gonna be on ESPN, so unscheduled, he forced himself onto the set next to Paul George so he could do this.
Hopefully, this offseason we find a way to get better and, add some pieces.
Yes, and it worked. But all this is about health in Philadelphia, and just like on the Clippers, I don't have a ton of faith it's gonna work. But Morey still has work to do, and around their big three, they have signed Kelly Oubre back, Eric Gordon, Andre Drummond. They've drafted Jared McCain at 16, and now they have about $9 million to get a starting forward and vets minimums to fill out the bench. But a lot of other things have happened in free agency. So Derrick Jones Jr. went to the Clippers. He was an amazing signing for Dallas last year and was a key starter for them. Instead, the Mavs dumped Tim Hardaway's salary and have the full $13 million mid-level for Klay Thompson. He is also looking at the Lakers, who still need to deal D'Angelo Russell. But LeBron James made a huge decision. He told LA, I will take a massive pay cut if we can get a good player. And I'm talking from $50 million down to $25 million. That is huge. Guys never do that. And I know people say, oh, who cares? LeBron's a billionaire. No, even Kobe refused to take a $1 pay cut at the very end. But LeBron gave the Lakers a list. Klay Thompson, James Harden, Jonas Valanciunas, and DeMar DeRozan. Harden and Valanciunas are already off the board, and so is Chris Paul. There was talk that he could join the Lakers on a small deal. Instead, he chose the Spurs. 1 year, $11 million to play with Victor Wembanyama. Obviously, CP is past his prime, but it is a huge upgrade for San Antonio, and it'll be fun to watch. Plus, they are looking at Lauri Markkanen in a trade. That would make the West so much tougher than it already is. And that's not even to mention the DeJounte Murray trade to New Orleans. And who knows how much better they will get when they eventually trade Brandon Ingram. Now, I'll admit that the Denver Nuggets got worse also because of this new CBA, but it all brings us back to the Golden State Warriors. They missed the playoffs and the West just got better. Now they miss on Paul George and lose Klay? There's a really good chance Steph Curry misses the postseason yet again. It just sucks for him and the Clippers because the new CBA made sure Paul George landed in Philly. But there is so much more on Klay, no matter where he ends up. Why is dude so upset? Something terrible must have happened for him to actually want to leave Golden State. And actually, it's pretty sad.